My name is Charlotte, and I received a heart transplant 2 years ago. I needed to have a heart transplant because my heart was damaged when I was doing chemotherapy as a treatment for breast cancer. I did that back in 2003, and for 20 years, I tried to control the damage with medications, ablations, and I had a pacemaker and defibrillator implanted. But after 20 years, my heart started totally failing, and I needed to have a transplant. Before receiving the heart transplant, my health continued to decline, and I was very short of breath to the point where I couldn't walk very far at all without having to stop. I was very fatigued, and towards the end, I couldn't walk more than a few yards without having to stop. My doctor had me go into the hospital to be evaluated to see if I would qualify for a transplant because I was 70 years old at the time. I was blessed to be approved after multiple tests that showed I was in great shape except for a bad heart, which was caused not by lifestyle but by chemotherapy. I was able to go home after being approved, but I had to go home on an IV, a life support IV of a milrinone drip, which we had to change at home once a day. And that was a bit of a learning curve, but we caught on quickly. And thanks to the help of my husband, I was able to have it done correctly. And I had a home health care nurse come once a week to clean the site, and it really was not difficult once I got used to it. Once my doctor recommended a transplant, I still had to be evaluated to see if I would qualify. And we weren't sure because I was 70 years old at the time. And typically, they don't like to do it when you're that old. But I was very blessed that I was in good health, other than a bad heart that had been caused not by lifestyle, but by chemotherapy. And so, after many, many tests over about 3 weeks, I was evaluated and cleared for a transplant. And but I had to go home on a life support IV bag with a drug called milrinone. But I was able to stay at home on the IV for 4 months before my heart totally was failing and I had to return to the hospital. The things that helped me stay strong and hopeful were my faith, but most of all, my dear, dear family, especially my husband and friends who were my prayer warriors, they said, and my healthcare team were wonderful. And once I was finally admitted to the hospital to wait for the heart transplant, all of the staff were so positive and so encouraging. And I just felt very blessed that I was going to be able to have a second chance at life. Since my surgery, to get well and stay healthy, I have tried to take good care of myself. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I try to eat carefully and properly and get as much exercise as I'm able to. The hardest adjustment was actually just taking so many pills. I had never had to take that many pills before, and after a transplant, you have to take quite a few every day, several times a day. And my husband devised a brilliant plan. They give you a list of the drugs to take, and he numbered them, and then we numbered the corresponding bottles of pills with the number. And so it made it very easy to line them up, take them in order, and after a while, it just got to be automatic. The other challenge was after transplants, many people develop post transplant diabetes. And I was horrified. I thought I was going to have it the rest of my life, but I didn't. After a few months, it goes away. It's a result of so many steroids and drugs that you're taking right after the transplant during recovery. When I received the call that a match had been found, I was in the hospital because the IV at home had started to not function. anymore. I mean, it wasn't working. And so I had to go into the hospital and have a heart pump put in, a balloon pump. And I had been checked into the hospital on February 29th, which was a leap year. And I got the call on March 7th that I had a heart. And even the nurses on the hall were amazed that it was so quickly. And so I felt very blessed. I would have had it on March 7th, but there was a weather delay and they couldn't get the heart here until almost midnight of March 8th. So I went into surgery March 8th at midnight and received my new heart. My recovery went really well. When I got home, I had so much support from family and friends and my doctors when I went in for my outpatient visits. And I got well very quickly. And now I have more energy than I've had in years. I've been able to do things. I've been able to travel. I've been able to enjoy cooking, which was always one of my hobbies, believe it or not, and see friends and just be out in the world again is a wonderful feeling. And every day I am grateful for this precious, precious gift that someone gave me. The advice I would give someone going through evaluation or waiting would be if they give you the option to agree to accept a heart from a donor who is positive for antibodies for hepatitis C, to go ahead and agree to do that because it really opens up the field of donors for you. And also, if you happen to catch it from the donor's heart, it's entirely treatable now. You take a course of pills for 8 to 12 weeks and you don't have to live with that. I was blessed in that I didn't get it. And most of the time they say you don't. And I would definitely recommend doing that. The other thing is when you have the transplant, take all of the pills exactly the way they tell you to. If you do everything they tell you to do, you will do great.